I woke up in a cold sweat, my heart pounding in my chest. It had been a restless night plagued by nightmares, but as I looked around my dimly lit room, I reassured myself that it was just a figment of my imagination. The clock read 3 a.m., the witching hour, and an eerie silence enveloped the house. Unable to fall back asleep, I decided to distract myself by reading a book of scary stories that I had picked up earlier that day. The worn-out pages were filled with tales of supernatural encounters and unexplained phenomena. Little did I know that these stories would soon merge with my reality, blurring the lines between fiction and nightmare. As I delved into the chilling narratives, the room seemed to grow colder, and a sense of unease settled over me. I couldn't shake the feeling that someone or something was watching me, but I brushed it off as a mere trick of my imagination, a side effect of immersing myself in the macabre world of horror stories. The first story I read sent shivers down my spine. It spoke of a restless spirit that haunted a desolate forest, luring unsuspecting victims to their doom. As I turned the page, a strange draft whispered through the room, rustling the curtains and causing the hairs on the back of my neck to stand on end. I peered out the window, half expecting to see a shadowy figure lurking in the darkness. As the night wore on, the stories became more sinister. One told the tale of a cursed doll that brought tragedy and death to anyone who possessed it. Suddenly, a soft scratching sound echoed from the corner of the room. I glanced over, my heart skipping a beat. There, on the dusty shelf, sat an antique doll, its lifeless eyes seeming to follow my every move. Determined not to succumb to fear, I continued reading. The next story spoke of a haunted house with a vengeful spirit that tormented anyone who dared enter its premises. As I turned the page, a peculiar scent wafted through the room, a sickly combination of decay and despair. The air grew thick, as if charged with an otherworldly energy. A creaking sound echoed from the hallway, drawing my attention away from the book. Slowly, I tiptoed towards the door, my heart pounding in my ears. With trepidation, I peered into the darkness, half expecting to see a ghostly figure lurking in the shadows. But all I saw was an empty corridor, bathed in moonlight. Shaken, but determined, I returned to my room and closed the book, hoping that ending my reading would bring an end to the unsettling events. But as I lay in bed, ready to surrender to exhaustion, a chilling breeze blew through the room, extinguishing the flickering candle on my nightstand. I found myself enveloped in darkness. The room transformed into a realm of shadows and whispers. Panic surged within me as I realized that the stories I had read had become a twisted reality. The spirits from the tales had somehow crossed over into my world, and I was trapped in their horrifying domain. Whispers echoed around me, their voices filled with malice. Shadows danced on the walls, contorting into grotesque shapes. The air grew thick with a suffocating presence. Fear consumed me, threatening to suffocate my sanity. In the depths of my terror, a realization struck me. The only way to escape this nightmare was to confront the darkness head-on. Summoning every ounce of courage, I rose from my bed and faced the looming shadows. With each step, the atmosphere grew more oppressive, as if the spirits were challenging my resolve. But I pressed forward, unyielding in my determination to break free from their clutches. The whispers intensified, their sinister tones filling the room, but I refused to be deterred. In a final act of defiance, I shouted into the void, demanding the spirits to release me from their grip. The room trembled and the shadows recoiled, their power waning. A burst of light flooded the room, banishing the darkness and revealing the empty space around me. As I caught my breath, relief washed over me. The nightmare was over. The stories that had kept me awake at night had lost their power. From that moment on, I vowed to be cautious with the tales I immersed myself in, knowing the thin line between fiction and the terrifying reality they could conjure. But deep down, I knew that some stories, even the scariest ones, held a glimmer of truth. And while they may keep us up at night, they also remind us of the unimaginable horrors that lurk in the shadows, waiting for the opportunity to cross over into our world once more. With newfound caution, I closed the book of scary stories and placed it on the shelf, far from my reach. The room gradually returned to its normal state, the remnants of the supernatural encounter fading away. But the harrowing experience left an indelible mark on my psyche. I became acutely aware of the subtle hints of the paranormal that often go unnoticed by others. Strange noises in the night, flickering lights, and unexplained phenomena now captured my attention. In my quest to understand the realm of the supernatural, I immersed myself in research. I delved into ancient legends, consulted experts in the occult, and sought out individuals who had encountered the unexplainable. I was determined to uncover the truths behind the stories that had once haunted my dreams. With each investigation, I walked a fine line between fascination and trepidation. I discovered haunted locations with chilling histories, encountered individuals whose lives had been forever changed by their brush with the unknown, and documented evidence of ghostly phenomena. But as I ventured deeper into the mysteries of the supernatural, I realized the danger of peering too far into the abyss. The darkness had a way of creeping into one's soul, leaving an indelible mark that could never be erased. It tested the boundaries of my sanity and the limits of my courage. One night, as I delved into a particularly disturbing case, the room suddenly grew cold, and an icy wind blew through the open window. The atmosphere crackled with an electric energy, and the hair on the back of my neck stood on end. I knew I had stumbled upon something truly malevolent. Whispers filled the air, their voices a chorus of torment and despair. Shadows danced on the walls, their forms shifting and contorting with an eerie fluidity. I could feel their presence, their malevolent gaze fixated on me. With a sinking feeling in my gut, I realized that I had ventured too far. The spirits I had encountered in my research had followed me, drawn by my insatiable curiosity. They had crossed the boundary between fiction and reality, and now they sought to claim their revenge. In a desperate bid to protect myself, I turned to ancient rituals and protective talismans, but their power seemed feeble in the face of the overwhelming darkness that surrounded me. The whispers grew louder, their voices laced with malice. Shadows encroached upon me, reaching out with ethereal tendrils. My heart pounded in my chest as I fought against the encroaching terror. The room became a battleground, the forces of light and darkness locked in a harrowing struggle for my soul. Sweat drenched my brow as I summoned every ounce of strength within me, refusing to succumb to the impending doom. And then, with a blinding flash of light, it was over. The darkness dissipated, replaced by a sense of tranquility. The spirits had retreated, their malevolent presence vanishing into the ether. I collapsed to the floor, shaken and exhausted, but relieved to have survived the ordeal. The encounter had taught me a valuable lesson. The pursuit of the unknown carried grave consequences. The stories that keep us up at night, the tales of the supernatural and the macabre, should be approached with caution and respect. As I emerged from that harrowing experience, I resolved to share my knowledge and experiences, but with a warning to others. Scary stories have a power that transcends fiction, and delving too deeply into their mysteries can awaken forces beyond our comprehension. Now, I walk the line between fascination and fear, spreading awareness of the chilling tales that lie in the shadows. I caution others to be mindful of the stories they consume, to approach the supernatural with reverence, and to never underestimate the power of a true scary story to keep us up at night. As I share this cautionary tale, a sense of foreboding fills the air. I can't help but wonder if the spirits I encountered that fateful night still linger, patiently waiting for an opportunity to strike again. The whispers in the dark remind me that some stories are not meant to be merely read or heard, they are meant to be experienced. And so, dear reader, as you lay in bed tonight, unable to escape the grips of curiosity, remember my warning. Be wary of the stories that beckon from the shadows, for they may hold a power beyond your wildest nightmares. The line between fiction and reality becomes blurred, and the consequences may be far more terrifying than you could ever imagine. So as you close your eyes and drift into sleep, ask yourself this: will you dare to enter the realm of true scary stories, knowing that once you do, there may be no turning back? Can you withstand the chilling horrors that lie in wait, ready to invade your dreams and haunt your waking hours? Think carefully, for the darkness is patient, and it has an insatiable appetite for those who dare to delve too deeply into its mysteries. As the clock strikes midnight and the moon casts an ominous glow, remember that the tales that keep you up at night may become your own personal nightmare. Will you heed my warning, or will you be drawn into the abyss of true terror? The choice is yours, but remember, once you step into the world of true scary stories, there may be no escape from the horrors that await.